What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well, feeling great, and enjoying freedom. It's a great day to have a great day. Today, I wanted to talk about HSAs, health savings accounts, what the purpose of them are, how I'm using one, and what some of my goals are moving forward. We're going to get into it, but really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for a bunch of videos. Subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive bonus videos. Get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel. Try out some G Fuel energy formula, $5 off your first order by clicking the link in the description. And of course, make sure to go and get your up to 12 free fractional shares by downloading Weeble and funding your account. Everything will be linked in the description. All right, so today, like most days, my video is going to be something to listen to as opposed to something to watch. Unless you want to sit here and watch. By the way, I did not hang that up, but thank God for whoever did. Shout out to them. You can watch if you'd like, but I'm just going for a walk in the woods. This is more so something to listen to, like a radio show or a podcast. All right, so I want to talk about HSAs. Now, let me start off by saying that maybe a year ago, or maybe even less than a year ago, somewhere between 6 and 12 months ago, I started looking into HSAs. It's not something that I had ever really put any thought into. I'd never even considered it. It never even really crossed my mind, to be honest. But 6 to 12 months ago, I started looking into it, and I was not enrolled in a high deductible health plan at that time. So I was not eligible to apply for an HSA. So I was like, all right, whatever. Moved on. But now, with the new promotion that I had just received, just earned, after putting in the time, energy, effort, blood, sweat, and tears, got the promotion that I had been fighting for. And now I am enrolled in a high deductible health plan. And the cost of benefits is not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's actually about half as much as I was expecting it to be. And I was going through, scrolling up and down, selecting the different, packages and whatnot, and customizing it to make sense for me. I had noticed that there was an HSA option. So I got a hold of it, and I'm going to be utilizing it. Now, first things first, what is an HSA? HSA stands for Health Savings Account. And this right here is triple tax advantaged. You hear a lot about tax advantaged accounts, whether it be a tax advantaged savings account like a 401k, it's tax deferred. You put your pre-taxed dollars straight from your paycheck. It goes into your 401k before you even get that direct deposit. Goes into the account before you see the dollars, before Uncle Sam sees the dollars. It goes straight into the account, pre-tax dollars, and it grows and compounds over time. Hopefully you get a company match as well. And later on down the road, when you're eligible to retire at 59 and a half or older, you can cash out, and those taxes are deferred for when you retire. You don't pay taxes on them going in, you pay taxes later. So you have more money going in up front so that it grows at potentially a quicker pace. More money going in is better than less money going in, and then you pay taxes later. And then, of course, there's also the Roth IRA, which is also a tax-advantaged account. It's the same as a 401k, but the opposite. You put your post-tax dollars that have already been taxed. So like I just said, with a Roth IRA, it's better to have more money going in than less money going in, unless, of course, it's tax-free at the end, which is what a Roth IRA is. You put your dollars that have already been taxed after Uncle Sam already took his cut, after the direct deposit already hit your account. You put your post-tax dollars in there, let it compound over time, and then you can cash out completely, entirely, 100% tax-free because you already paid taxes on the dollars going in before they went in. So the difference between the two, they're the same thing, but in opposite ways. But they're both tax advantaged. One is tax-free gains on already taxed dollars, and the other one would be tax deferred. Pre-tax dollars going in, you defer the taxes until later when you retire. So these are just a couple of examples of tax advantaged accounts. Well, an HSA, which is what this video is about, a health savings account, it's triple tax advantaged. It's not just tax advantaged, it is triple tax advantaged. Now I'll explain what that means in just one moment, but to become eligible for an HSA, you must first be enrolled in a high deductible health plan, which is how I became eligible. And by the way, for the record, I do have a screenshot of what my personal HSA looks like. Crazy amount of dollars in there. A lot of money. You're gonna see this and be like, man, this guy's rich. How'd he get so much currency? Check this out right here. $0. I just opened it up the other day, but this is what it looks like, or at least what mine looks like. My account balance as of July 5th, just opened it up on July 5th. Cash balance 0, invested balance 0, year-to-date contributions 0, and here are the contribution limits. For an individual, if you're filing a single, $3,850 is the maximum contribution you could put in every single year, and family, $7,750. So that's what the HSA looks like, and when I start making weekly contributions, weekly pre-taxed contributions, then of course that $0 balance will start to climb. So when it comes to the HSA, it's triple tax advantaged. The first way that it's tax advantaged is one that most people are probably already aware of, which is it lowers your tax bill. These contributions, tax deductible, it lowers your taxable income because money gets taken out of your paycheck before you even receive the paycheck, before Uncle Sam even touches the paycheck. And it lowers your tax bill. The second way that it's tax advantaged is that you can invest those pre-tax dollars. Well, let me interrupt myself. There are two different ways you can let your currency work in your HSA. The first way is leaving those dollar bills as dollar bills. I would not recommend that because over time, you're going to be losing the fight to inflation. Yes, it's tax advantaged, which is good. You save when it comes to taxes, but you lose when it comes to inflation. Although, it's okay to leave those dollars as dollars in the short term if you plan on using those dollars for a medical expense in the near future. If you have an upcoming medical expense that you know you're gonna have to take care of, you can save them as dollar bills and get that squared away. So that's one way you can go about doing it. You can put your dollar bills in the HSA and leave them as dollar bills. The other way you can go about it is by taking those pre-tax dollar bills, putting them into the HSA, and then investing them within the HSA. Stocks, bonds, ETFs, index funds. You can invest them the same way you would within a Roth IRA, a 401k, a regular investing account. Like how I mentioned in the intro of the video, Webull is at the moment, and for quite a while now, has been my favorite way of going about, or my favorite app to use for my personal investments. And just a reminder, if you download the app and fund your account, they're going to give you up to 12 free fractional shares. just for doing so. And if you want to, you can even open up a Roth IRA on Webull, one of the many tax-advantaged investing methods. But you can put your pre-tax dollars into this HSA. You can leave it as currency for the short term, which is not a bad idea. Long term, you could still do it. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can also invest those pre-tax dollars, which brings us to the second way that this is tax advantaged. You see tax-free gains on those pre-taxed dollars, similar to how a 401k works. Your pre-tax dollars go in, you invest them, it compounds over time, it grows over time, and then cash out later on. But with a 401k, you pay taxes later on. HSA, similar, but you don't pay taxes later on, if of course it's used for medical expenses, qualified eligible medical expenses, which is, by the way, the third way the HSA is tax advantaged. Triple tax advantaged. Quick little recap here. The first way is it lowers your tax bill. Second way is that you can see tax-free gains on those pre-tax dollars. And the third way is tax-free spending on those tax-free gains on those pre-taxed dollars if used on medical expenses. Now, you don't have to wait until you're retired. You can use them now. Is how I understand it. You could put those pre-tax dollars in today and spend them on a medical expense tomorrow. Tax-free as long as it's for a medical expense. But your best bet is to utilize this now, is to let it grow and compound over time, so that when you are older and probably more likely to be spending on medical related things, which, by the way, this can go for paying for an ambulance, this can go for getting blood work done, this can go for purchasing a wheelchair, this can go for a chiropractor, the list goes on. Medical expenses. And you can spend those tax-free gains that you saw on your pre-tax dollars tax-free. Now, of course, you can spend them on other stuff, things that are not eligible medical expenses, but you're gonna have to pay taxes on it. But that's not what an HSA is for. If you want a tax-advantaged account to spend however you want to spend later on down the road, that's what a Roth IRA and a 401k, etc., etc., etc. are for. An HSA, it's in the title, Health Savings Account. That's what it's for. And it compounds over time. And this is something that I will be honest, even though I am a long-term thinker, even though I tend to see the bigger picture when it comes to investing and when it comes to, finances in general and stuff like that, even still, me being a younger guy, I'm not exactly motivated by this HSA. I don't get a whole lot of excitement out of thinking about, ooh, I can't wait to spend money tax-free on medical expenses. That's not exactly something that, really anyone at all gets too excited about. It's, it's boring, but that's what it's for. And reducing my taxable income where I'm at right now isn't going to really make much of a difference at all. I still have a lot of work to do when it comes to increasing my income. See, I'm not really overly focused on let me reduce my taxable income. I'm trying to make as much friggin' income as I possibly can. And me being on the younger side, I don't have any medical expenses at this time. if I'm going to be honest with you, my entire adult life has gone by and I've had a grand total of $0 worth of medical expenses. Got bit by a dog one time, but the owner of that dog had to pay the price. But other than that, you know, I take really good care of myself, and a lot of people do, and that doesn't mean that you're invincible by any means. But for me personally, you know, knock on wood, I haven't had any health issues my entire adult life. I feel fantastic. I look fantastic. And so far so good is all I'm gonna say. But point being is that I'm not exactly overly enthusiastic. Oh yeah, I love this HSA. This is the greatest thing in the world. I can't wait to spend tax-free dollars on eligible medical expenses when I'm older. But guess what? Give it another 30, 40, 50 years, I'm really gonna be thanking my younger self. So that's the way I see it. Now, for me personally, how I'm going about utilizing this HSA is, at the moment, you know, I was scrolling through the different, you know, benefits, all the different options that I had to pick from while figuring out what I needed, what I wanted, what wasn't very important to me, and basically customizing my benefits through my job, because the promotion, you know, you gotta, now I have to pay for my benefits out of pocket and whatnot. I had noticed that what comes along with this HSA is, and I know this isn't overly impressive, but it's definitely something, it comes with a $250 a year contribution from the company I work for. They're gonna put $250 into my HSA every single year, whether I contribute to it or not. Which, very nice of them. I appreciate that. That's pretty cool. A lot of companies offer $0, which they don't have to offer anything at all. It's great enough just having an HSA. But the fact that I get a company contribution makes it even better. Now, like I said, for a person like me that's filing as an individual, the maximum contribution is a little over $3,000. I personally, at this time, will not be maxing it out. At some point later on in the future, that may change, but the way I see it right now, at the moment, my plan and how I have it set up is I'm going to take their contribution and I'm going to match it. If they're putting $250 a year in, I'm going to put $250 a year in. So if you break it down, that's $10 a week. I can afford $10 a week to put into something that's designed for the long term. I can put 10 pre-tax dollars into this account, and once I figure out how I want to invest those dollars, I mean, I will be going with a broad market index fund or ETF. It seems like every account I have utilizes the S&P 500, which, to be honest, is probably the best option for my HSA, in my opinion. So that's probably what I'll end up going with. But once I figure that out, $10 a week, 10 pre-tax dollars every week will be going into this account. They will be invested. There will be good years, there will be bad years, there will be years where we move sideways, there will be fantastic years, and then there will be years where we see market crashes. But overall, I know that I'm going to see an upward trajectory. I know that I will see gains, and within an HSA they will be tax-free gains. And I know that later on down the road, after this compounds and after this grows over the course of years and decades to come, I will be able to use the money to take care of eligible medical expenses, which again, at this time, doesn't really mean very much to me. Doesn't exactly get me jazzed up and excited. I'm not jumping up and down celebrating over here, but a couple decades in the future, I'm sure I will be very, very thankful for the decisions I made when I was younger. And I'll be able to spend those dollars tax-free. So that's what an HSA is. That's what an HSA is for. That's what an HSA looks like. And that's what you can do with an HSA. Now, like I said, I'm still not 100% sure how I'm going to invest my weekly contributions. I think the S&P 500 is probably the greatest possible decision. But I don't know if I should add a second fund to it. I don't know if 100% of my weekly contribution should be going into the S&P, or if those, let's just say $10, I could put that $10 into the S&P every week if that's what I want to do. Or maybe I could do a 50-50 split between S&P and something else, although I don't think I would do that. Maybe an 80-20 split or a 90-10 split. I've yet to figure that out. But at the moment, I'm so early in the game, I haven't even made my first contribution yet. That's how recently I opened up this HSA. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm just gonna let those couple of dollars pile up a little bit, and I'm going to figure out what the best possible move is. Now it's funny, like I said, I'm probably going to be going with the S&P, and the reason that's funny to me is because I seem to use the S&P for everything. The S&P 500 is 40% of my Roth IRA, which, like I said before, you can open up a Roth IRA on the Webull app, link in the description. They're going to give you up to 12 free fractional shares just for creating an account and making your initial deposit. But the S&P 500 is 40% of my Roth IRA. My 401k is still in the process of being set up. We have to get some information and whatnot transferred over from my job to the host site of where my 401k is being set up. Could take, I think I was told 5 to 7 business days. So that has technically not been opened up yet. Or it's been opened up, I have to wait 5 to 7 days to start making contributions. And I have not picked out a fund just yet for the 401k. I have 2 that make the most sense, and I'm just trying to figure out which one is the better option between the 2. But then as for my personal investment account, not tax advantage, although one could argue that it is tax advantage because the money that you make on long-term capital gains and also the money that you make on passive income dividends, it's all taxed at a lower rate than the income that you make actively, aka the money that you make by going to work every day. So if you make $50,000 a year at your job and you make $50,000 a year worth of long-term capital gains and passive income dividends or interest income on uninvested cash, you're taxed at a lower rate on the passive income than you are on the active income. Funny how that works. And that's just simply because the tax code was, I say this all the time. Oh my God, who is calling me? You know what? You know what's funny? You know what's hilarious? Nope. Not who I thought it was. You can wait. I was just going to say I was going to get a call within 5 to 7 days regarding my 401k. And the woman on the phone was going to let me know when everything is locked and loaded and ready to go. Signed, sealed, and ready to be delivered. I thought it might be her. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, my individual account. The S&P is currently about 6% of my overall portfolio. And I'm working on building that up to closer to 40%. I don't want to be overly reliant on individual stocks, which is how I got my start. And I'm a massive fan of them, but when it comes to the individuals, there's just so much to keep up with. You gotta read all of their earnings reports 4 times a year, which, doesn't sound like very much, but when you have, 5, 10, 15, 20 individual stocks, and you have to read all of their earnings reports 4 times a year. Oh my God, what did he call me? It's just a lot to keep up with. And not for nothing, just because it's a rock solid company with rock solid products and services, and they're still continuing to innovate and create and do big things, and the future is bright, management can screw all of that up overnight. So it's just something to take into consideration. Broad market index funds are the safer and more hands-off approach. You don't have to invest so much of your time in reading earnings reports and keeping up with all the little intricate details about all of the individual stocks you pick. If you just, buy into broad market index funds, those individual stocks are in there, plus, hundreds and hundreds of others. So that's what I like about the S&P. It's the 500 biggest, best performing companies, publicly traded companies in the United States, all wrapped up in one. And if one ends up lacking, it gets bumped out by default and replaced with one that's performing better. So it's completely automated. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to do anything. That's what I like about broad market index funds, especially the S&P, where you can expect to see around 10% growth on average annually, 8% adjusted for inflation with dividends reinvested. I want that to be 40% or close to 40% of my personal investing account. It's also currently 40% of my Roth IRA. I'm sure it's probably going to be a solid chunk of my 401k. And there's a chance that it might end up being 100% of my HSA. I just have to figure that out. I have to figure out exactly which way I want to go. I could do an 80-20 split between the S&P and an international index. And if it ever gets to a point where we slow down, but emerging markets are looking appetizing, I could always flip-flop them and start doing a 20-80 instead of 80-20 between the S&P and... But anyway, I'm just thinking out loud over here. Point being is that the HSA is something that I just opened up. It's something that I never really took into consideration up until maybe like half a year ago. I looked into it and I wasn't really able to open up an account at the time, but now with this new promotion, it was offered to me as part of my benefits, and I decided to go with it. And the company that I work for is putting $250 a year into it every single year. And at the moment, I will be putting $250 a year into it as well. $10 a week to match what they're giving me. So at the moment, $500 a year for now. Triple tax advantaged. Pre-tax dollars go into it. Those pre-tax dollars will be invested, and over the course of years and decades to come, I will be seeing tax-free gains on those pre-tax dollars. And then later on down the road, when I need them for medical expenses, I can spend those tax-free gains on pre-tax dollars tax-free. So triple tax advantaged. This thing is awesome. This thing is a beast. I will be honest, even though I'm not overly excited about it because it's not a very exciting topic, that is pretty cool to think about. Triple tax advantaged. Let's go. Anyway, I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. Do you have an HSA? You don't have to share the details, but do you max it out? Do you put a certain amount in? Maybe you don't max it out, but maybe you do something similar to what I do. It's like $10 a week or $40, $50, $100 a month or whatever it is that you do. If you're comfortable sharing those details, I'd love to know. Now, if you guys like today's video, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel in the biggest possible way. Try out some G Fuel Energy Formula, $5 off your first order by clicking the link in the description. Over 50 different flavors to choose from. Sugar-free, low-calorie, packed with a whole bunch of vitamins, and it's absolutely delicious. Go and get yourself $5 off by clicking the link in the description. And then, of course, make sure to go and get your up to 12 free fractional shares by downloading Webull and funding your account. You can deposit as little as you'd like, even as little as a penny. Still works, still counts. You still get your up to 12 free fractional shares. You can open up a Roth IRA right there on the Webull app. It's a tax-advantaged retirement account. Webull link in the description. Everything is linked in the description. And once again, I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to an HSA. If you have an HSA, does the company that you work for, does your job make a contribution to it? I've read that some companies will contribute up to like $800 a year. I was like, wow, that's insane. Some companies don't make a contribution at all. It's awesome enough just having an HSA, but just like the cherry on top if the company that you works for makes a contribution to it. So let me know anything and everything related to health savings accounts in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.